Welcome to Atlanta, jacking hammers and bows. Back to the mackin' and jacking the clothes. Adolescents packing the foes. A knock on the door. Who is it? I would happen to know, the one with the flow. Who did it? It was me, I suppose. Jay-Z in the road.
Atlanta Motor Speedway, located about 20 miles south of downtown Atlanta in Hampton, Georgia, has come a very long way from the very first race held in 1960 and won by NASCAR legend Fireball Roberts, who also took the pole at 133 miles per hour. Spectators from that day who watched from one small grandstand or on blankets spread out on an adjacent dirt bank wouldn't begin to recognize the facility today, even down to its name. Dubbed Atlanta International Raceway when it opened, the track struggled financially through the 60s and 70s before finding a degree of stability in the 1980s. Real change came following Bruton Smith's purchase of the facility in 1990, with the transformation of Atlanta International Speedway occurring in 1997. With extensive reconfiguration that switched front and back straightaways and added a double dogleg in the new front straightaway. In the 7 intervening years, new grandstands sprouted almost every year, and a 9-story tower, Terra Place, that houses the track offices and a number of luxury condominiums. Atlanta has been a staple on the NASCAR calendar for decades, and tonight, it's race number 4 of the No Bull Racing Series, and it's next on HBR TV.
Welcome to Atlanta where the players play, and we ride on them things like every day. Big beats hit streets, see gangsters roaming, and parties don't stop till 8 in the morning.
Now the party don't start till I walk in, and I usually don't leave until the thing is. But in the meantime, in between time, you work your thing, I work mine. I've been putting it down here since 8.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. Tonight's No Bull Racing Series, race number 4. 120 laps the race distance here tonight. 86-degree ambient temperature, 77% humidity, partly cloudy skies, 11-mile-per-hour breeze, track temp 109 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's take a look here as far as tire allotments are concerned. 2 sets available over the wall and a maximum fuel capacity of 100%. Drivers still going to need to take care of some tires, especially here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, but practice just about wrapped up. Let's go down trackside, cover the action. Fastest so far is the 3 of Brian McCann, 30.88 seconds. Brandon Mefford second fast. Will Hewitt third quick, Chris Gomes, Jesse Redding, your top 5 so far in the session. Again, just about 2 minutes remain before we get into the qualifying for tonight's race. Brandon Mefford losing it here in turn 3. Don't know if that was just overdriving it for the fun of it. Again, no fast repair needed in this instance. Again, there's no backup cars. There's no actual repairs that need to be affected to these cars during practice sessions and things like that. Of course, we do get into a race session and you wreck it. Well, that's a whole different ball game. You are going to have to worry about repairing that car. Again, no fast repairs in this series. Maybe on the road courses and super speedways, but as far as everywhere else, no safety net. Less than a minute remains in the session. '21-car field here tonight. Unfortunately, no Zach Millett once again. That's 2 weeks straight. Millett running over in a Lone Star Racing special event out of Texas Motor Speedway. Ken Couch back in action in the 08 machine. Practice comes to an end. See who takes to the track first here to begin their qualifying run. 10-minute session. Joe Tucker, first one to jump in the cockpit here. Does he roll first? Grabs gear and heads on out. Tucker out of turn 4, right up against the safer barrier. Again, running on the old configuration of Atlanta Motor Speedway, so we're going to deal with significant tire wear. Not quite the drafting style racetrack that the new configuration has become, with fresh pavement, a little more banking. Gotta be honest, I like this version a lot better. It really rewards a driver that can take care of their equipment, take care of their tires throughout the course of the race. It's Tucker across the stripe here in the dog leg. First lap in the books. 31.35 puts him second quick for the time being, as Brian McCann is fastest so far, 30.988 for the 3. Can through 3 and 4 for his final lap. First lap was quick. Is the second faster? Let's see. It is a little bit quicker, about half a tenth, 30.947 the top time right now, and that belongs to the 3 of Brian McCann. Eddie Rose at 31.94 his first lap, currently sits 13th. Let's see if he can pick it up here on this second time by. Drop to 14th. Does he pick up? Slightly. 31.76 puts Eddie Rose 14th fast for the time being. Brandon Mefford, the number 83. First lap for Brandon Mefford in the book. Second fast, 30.985. Might have a shot at the pole here. It's about 400ths shy. Can he keep the power down out of 2? Right up against the outside wall. I don't think he lifted at all. We'll continue to watch the 83, again, right against the safer barrier. Dives it back to the bottom, across the stripe. Still second quick, doesn't improve. 31.008 for Brandon Mefford. Finally gets a piece of the wall. Neil Quick, first lap, 7th fast. Lap 2, 31.139, still P7. Will Hewitt, number 33. 31.082 the first lap for Hewitt. Fourth quick. Not a bad lap at all. Got NS Vengeance in the stream chat. Says, let's go, chat. Yeah, let's go. Hop in it, guys. Let's get moving. Tell us where you're watching from, who you're cheering for. Just say hello. Whatever you want to do. Meanwhile, Will Hewitt up against the fence here out of turn 4 as well. Dives it back down through the dog leg. Lets it drift up, across the stripe. 31.077. He did pick up. Not a huge gain, but very consistent. Fourth fast for Will Hewitt. Seems to be the only drivers that haven't taken a time to this point. Looks like Matt Kopp, Tim Stubblefield, Mark Truxell, Doug Wysocki, Chris Mefford. 5 minutes into the session. It's a 10-minute session, so we're going to take a short break here. We'll be back with our starting grid after this. Stay with us.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
He did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact, and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt's through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short... Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's take a look at our starting grid for tonight's No Bull Racing Series, race number 4 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. On the pole position with a lap time of 30.947 seconds, it is the 3 of Brian McCann. Outside front row, missed it by 38 thousandths of a second, it's the 83 of Brandon Mefford. Starting in the third spot, it's the 80 of Drew Prowl. Right side of Prowl is going to be the 33 of Will Hewitt. Starting fifth, Chris Goins in the 41. Sixth goes to Michael Tucker in the 39. Keaton Burnett back from Lone Star Racing, the number 26, rolls from 7th. Neil Quick out of the IROC Series will start 8th. Ninth starter is going to be Chris Mefford. 10th goes to Jesse Redding. Matt Sisler starting from the 11th spot. Alan DeFries, the SCAR veteran, now No Bull racer, going to start in the 12th position. Starting in the 13th position, Joe Tucker, lucky 13 tonight, in the number 13, starts 13th. Vincent Short, the number 15, is going to start 14th. Almost had 2 there. Shane Haas, the 23rd, is going to start 15th. 16th starters, Ken Couch. 17th goes to Chris Elliott. Eddie Rose will start from the 18th position. Tim Stubblefield, Doug Wysocki, 19th and 20th. Mark Truxell and Matt Kopp will roll from 21st and 22nd position, respectively. Starting grid here from Atlanta Motor Speedway as the field begins to roll off the starting grid. One lap, we should be green flag racing the next time by. Two IROC Challenge drivers going to be taking the field to the green flag here. Again, they've been running this Gen 4 Cup car for the better part of 3/4 of their season, so they've got plenty of experience, a bit of a leg up on some of the drivers that may be just dipping their toes into the Gen 4 pool. Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford, Neil Quick, 3 of those guys in the top 10 coming to us from IROC. Racing Pace Chuck about to pull down to pit lane.
Ready, green.
Green flag waves, we're racing. No, and a wheel spin from the 80 of Drew Prowl. He's going to lose a bunch of spots right on the start. Prowl goes from the second row back to 14th. Could be worse here. Just a bad start for the 80 of Drew Prowl, spinning the back tires, even on the fresh rubber. Meanwhile, back out front, Brian McCann, 0.3 of a second ahead of the 83 thus far. Field working on a turn number 4, back in the stog leg here at start-finish. Starting to close the gap already here as we work lap 2 into turn number 3. It's about 1.5 tenths, if even that much, between the top 2. Man, just barely. Almost got the wall. It's the battle for the top spot. Brian McCann with the race lead. It's a continuing trend as of late. Mefford peeking out the right side here. Needs to find more room if he's going to try and make the pass on the high side. Mefford running a little bit higher up the racetrack compared to Brian McCann. Dives it down to the bottom. Thought he was going to have a run, but it appeared the car loosened up on corner exit. Didn't cost him too much ground as he's still within 1/10 of a second off the back bumper of Brian McCann through 3 and 4. Mefford now pulling it hard down to the left side. Comes back up the racetrack, just barely missing the wall again. I think some of this might be Mefford trying to keep some air on the nose of his machine. Again, aerodynamically very sensitive these Gen 4 cars are. Get tucked in behind a lead vehicle here and you're going to have a lot of aero push. Talk about aero push. Again, many of you are no stranger to auto racing and NASCAR specifically, but to any newbies that might be out there, aero push, effectively, you need air to hit the nose or even the back, but in this case, we're talking about the front end. You need air to push down on the front bodywork of the race car to provide downforce, which allows the car to turn a little better at speed. Now, the problem is you put a car that's the same design, so to speak, same shape and everything, right out in front of you, a tenth and a half in front of you. It puts a big hole in that air. Basically, the car in front gets to utilize all the air on the nose of his machine, while the car behind doesn't have as much to work with. So that in turn means less front downforce. Less front downforce means the car doesn't want to turn, i.e. push or tight, and that's what happens. And you see Brandon Mefford might be trying to get out of that dirty air to get some air on the nose of his machine so it can continue to turn. Seven laps in, this battle has not cooled off the slightest. Meanwhile, Chris Goins, Matt Sisler, Will Hewitt rounding out the top five. Neil Quick's up a couple of positions in P6. Big mover so far, though, is Matt Sisler in that fourth spot. Started 11th. And we do have a stage break coming at lap 40. Mefford still right on the back bumper of Brian McCann. Mefford making a look to the inside here. McCann went way up the racetrack. This is out of turn two, now down the back straightaway. Has stretched it out just a bit now, 3.5 tenths back to second place. The battle starting to cool off between these two. Meanwhile, a battle with Matt Sisler and Will Hewitt. Sisler on the bottom, Hewitt up top. Neil Quick might follow the 33 on through. Will Hewitt takes over the fourth spot. Matt Sisler now fifth, but Neil Quick challenging the number 93 Celsius Kia out of turn four. Into the fifth spot. Matt Sisler now slipping a couple of positions back to P6. Again, started 11th. He made a very big drive to the front, got up into the top four in the first 7 or 8 laps. Sisler showing the ability to be fast, at least on fresh tires, but again, this place, not one that rewards aggression as far as taking care of your stuff. I think that's already starting to show itself as Sisler starting to slip back. He's lost a couple of spots just the last few laps. I think that's all attributed to burning up the tires a little bit early. Does not take much. Really, the first 10 laps or so that you put on these tires is pretty much going to determine how cooperative they're going to be for you later on in the run. If you abuse them early, you're going to pay for the long term. '23 real loose out of 2, gathers it up down the backstretch. That's Shane Haas. So Continue to watch the battle here with Ken Couch and Doug Wysocki. Haas up top of the racetrack. Now that number 23, that was a pass for position. He had some trouble out of turn 2 just a lap ago. It has allowed Ken Couch to put some distance between himself and the 34, though, so that's a welcome sight for the 08. Wiggle out of the 23 once again. That's Shane Haas. Just having some handling struggles on that number 23 machine, trying to keep it straight. Meanwhile, Brian McCann continues to extend his race lead over Mefford. It's a second and a half now. 17 laps in here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Again, the stage break coming at lap 40 as Mark Truxell just drives it through the grass there. I don't know what the situation there was, but it happened quickly. Might have been having a Dale Earnhardt flashback. I don't know. We're not at Charlotte, though, so who knows? Either way, no harm, no foul, no damage to the 5 as he continues on, riding in the 16th position. He gets started 21st here tonight. Truxell closing in on Shane Haas here. We'll see if he can make the move to make this position his. Haas has been struggling, at least what we've seen out of turn number 2. The handle possibly going away already here on the number 23 machine. You have an incident, and it very well could have just heated up those rear tires. Then the connection issues coming into play. That's certainly not helpful either. Another car loose down into turn number 3. Didn't catch who that may have been. Also, unfortunately, it looks like Keaton Burnett does not take the green flag here tonight. Keaton had some connection issues to start his evening. Now, the last car on the racetrack currently is the number 88 of Eddie Rose. And I gotta tell you, it sounds like Eddie might not be in the throttle all the way. Eddie's going to have to be careful. He's going to go a lap down here very soon at that pace. Last lap for Eddie Rose, a 33.76. The leader's running about 7/10 faster than that. Won't be long before Brian McCann starts breathing down the neck of the 88. Brandon Mefford still in second, 1 3/4 seconds behind Brian McCann. Neil Quick, though, is slowly and surely and quietly made his way towards the front. Running in third as Chris Goins is in fourth. You just saw him have a little bit of a moment there in the dogleg. The 41 Popple Pro machine getting a little tail happy. Gathered it back up, but it looks like Will Hewitt is starting to close the gap on the 41. Though Goins was faster that last time by. About 0.2 faster. Goins still hanging on to the 4th spot. Check back on Vincent Short. Running in behind Michael Tucker. Right on board with Vince. Mike Fahey in the stream chat says, missing you guys tonight. Had some work troubles. See you next week. Tough break, Mike. Sorry you couldn't be here. Mike's always good for at least one caution. It's easy to say because he's not here. Short still running in the 9th position behind the 39 of Michael Tucker. We'll see if he starts to reduce that gap. Might put on some pressure here. Vince taking a look to the inside. Gets alongside into turn number 3. Doesn't slide up the track too much. Really no more than the 39 did, but Vince able to put the power down a little bit earlier than Tucker. Out of turn 4, Vincent Short takes the 8th position away. DeFries and Jesse Redding going at it here. DeFries in the 10th spot. Redding making a move to the bottom as DeFries goes way up the racetrack. This is a points-paying position here as we approach the stage here in about 12 laps. Jesse Redding does take it away from DeFries. Up in the top 5, Chris Goins in the 4th spot, ahead of the 33 of Will Hewitt. Doug Wysocki now back in the 15th position, battling with Drew Prale. Remember, Drew started way up the field. It was about in the 3rd position, I believe it was, if I remember correctly. And on that opening lap, let's go back to it. Coming to the green flag, watch the 80 machine of Drew Prale. Spins the tires, almost loses it, puts it in the grass. Does a good job getting out of the way of traffic, but lost a bunch of positions on that initial start. Prale still running back in 16th. Lots of work to do. Watching this fight, though, Prale's going to lose another spot here to Chris Elliott. He's not careful. Elliott goes on by, and he is clear out of turn 4. Laps in, Eddie Rose takes an opportunity to hit pit road here. About 9 laps shy of the stage break. Drew Prale gets into the fence here, getting into turn 3. Doug Wysocki way up the racetrack. He might have got a piece of the wall too. It looks like he did. A little bit off pace is the 34 out of turn 4. 22 of Matt Kopp's going to close in as well. And Eddie Rose making his pit stop very early. 16.93 seconds was his pit stop. Certainly going to cost him at least a lap. Now remember, Eddie was about a lap down when he decided to make that pit stop, so effectively he's 2 laps down now. Vincent Short, Joe Tucker, Matt Sisler. This is about to be a 3-car battle as we close in on the stage. Vince might have been saving his stuff here because all of a sudden he's picked up the pace and he's starting to march forward. Points do matter. He's up in the 8th position. I'm sure he'd love to pick up a couple of more here, take him away from Joe Tucker and Matt Sisler. Remains to be seen. Looks like Tucker's trying to put the pressure on Sisler as well, but Short's careful. He can probably take advantage here. Tucker slides up a bit, stays off the door of the 93, keeps the low line open for Vincent Short. Out of turn number 2, it's actually going to slow the momentum of the 15. Short now over the back bumper, thought about going up the middle here. He's just scrubbing speed down into turn 3, gets alongside Matt Sisler. Tucker takes the spot from the 93. We've got about 4 laps to go to end the stage. Short may take the spot from Sisler as well. Have to finish that pass up quickly here if he's going to make a challenge to get by Joe Tucker into the 6th position. Short gets clear of the 93. Still has some time here. He might be able to reel in Joe Tucker. See it again. Vincent Short was almost alongside there, the exit of the dog leg. Now he is alongside Joe Tucker through turns 1 and 2. Vince tucks back in behind the 13. Short a little loose through the dog leg. You saw the car step out, keeps his foot into it. 2 laps to end the stage. Tucker up the racetrack. Short still down the bottom. Coming to lap 40. Next time by. Still the battle continues for this 6th position. Vincent Short wants around Tucker in the worst kind of way. Curious to see if he's going to take tires on this stop or not, because he's sure beating the heck out of him right now. Meanwhile, we are on lap 40, so Brian McCann in good position to take another stage win here in the Noble Racing Series. Eddie Rose just up ahead, in danger of going down another lap. I think he'll be okay for this one as the caution's about to come out. And lap 41 goes up, so that should end the stage.
Caution somewhere, caution. Throughout the course of that last run, did you see any rubber laying down at all?
Caution is out. That's going to signify the end of stage 1. Top 10, Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford, Neil Quick, Chris Goins, Will Hewitt, Vincent Short, Joe Tucker. It looks like Short got Joe right at the finish of the stage. 8th was Matt Sisler. 9th, Michael Tucker. Chris Mefford finishing 10th. First round of pit stops just about to get underway here as Brian McCann pulls it down pit lane. And I think everybody's coming with him. They're going to need the fuel for starters. Curious to see who takes tires and who doesn't. Again, only 2 sets over the wall. I suppose you could take a set here. We'll see. McCann, right sides for sure. Same for Brandon Mefford. Yeah, 4 tires and fuel. That's kind of the way to go. I just don't think you can go fuel only and maintain enough pace to not lose a lap. So these guys are kind of forced. They can't really save a set for later on in the race if we get a caution. But with that, we're going to jump out here, get a quick break. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, green flag just now coming back out. Brian McCann with a good restart. Brandon Mefford in the second spot. And caution immediately. We got trouble in the back of the pack. The 15 to Vincent Short around here in the dog leg. So just as quickly as the green came out, the yellow followed. So Vince Short, the number 15 Track Bar Media Chevrolet, having troubles on the restart. Let's get a look at it. a little late in the replay. Let's back it up. From my first glance, it looks like Vince might have spun the tires. And we'll watch it here full speed. Yep. As soon as those RPMs came up, tail end of the race car came around. That's all she wrote. On board. Some drivers are going to come down pit lane here, Alan DeFries being one of them. Vincent Short, obviously going to be another here. Some left front damage on the number 15 machine. Looks like Alan DeFries also with a bit of damage. So back out front, Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford, Will Hewitt, Neil Quick, Chris Goins. That's your current top five. Big movers so far throughout the field. Mark Truxell in the 9th position, running 12 spots higher than where he started. So far, so good for the 5. Truxell taking that Little Tate's Cupcakes machine, trying to get her towards the front. Doing a good job of it so far. And while we're in a caution here, it's still very quiet here in the stream chat, guys. Usually we got conversations, arguments, finger pointing, you name it. Early on, like I said, we had NS Vengeance, we had Chastity Tucker Realtor, Tucker Family, we had Allie Rose, Mike Fahey, of course. Must have crashed something at work because he's not here to crash tonight. Actually, if Mike Fahey crashes something at work, it's probably going to be on the news nationally. So let's hope that's not the case. So once again, we're going to take a short break here. We've got the opportunity under the yellow flag, so stay with us. We'll be back after this. It looks like Millett might have won this. He did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt's through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short...
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
flag back on the Speedway. Brian McCann with another good jump over Brandon Mefford. Lap 51 up on the board. McCann just getting out of it. 3.5 tenths the gap back to the 83 of Brandon Mefford. We got a battle in here for the third spot. Will Hewitt and Neil Quick. Quick about a car length off the back bumper of the 33 as they work through turns 3 and 4. Meanwhile, Brandon Mefford goes to the point here, or at least for a moment, dove it down to the bottom, gets alongside Brian McCann. McCann had such a lead just a moment ago. I gotta wonder if the 3 slipped up in the middle of the corner. Certainly didn't hit anything that we can see with Mefford. They're right there in attack formation alongside the 3. Still not quite clear. McCann battling back on the outside. Side by side, door handle to door handle at the start-finish line. Now back into turn number 1. They continue to fight. All this is going to do is let the 33 and the 2 start to close in. Looks like Mefford's going to be clear, though. Out of turn number 2, Brandon Mefford to the point. McCann's going to swap it over, though. Drops it to the inside. He's going to try and take it away on the bottom. I think McCann's led every lap to this point so far. If you can get across the line first here, you can maintain that. Looks like a run coming to the outside by Mefford. No, not enough. McCann stays out in front. Now he's clear of the 83. Mefford's going to have to tuck back in or stay high side. He's going to stay high side. Going to build a run out of turn 2. See what we see here down in turn number 3. Back to the inside goes Brandon Mefford for the race lead here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Still side by side out of turn 4. Little wiggle from Mefford. Meanwhile, Will Hewitt starting to put some distance back to the 2 of Neil Quick. Still side by side for the lead here at Atlanta off turn number 2. Mefford, McCann. Mefford has to lift. It was slipping up the racetrack, lost the nose a little bit. Man, Mefford still getting awfully close to that outside wall on corner exit. Just gotta wonder how much heat these guys have put into their tires fighting for that top spot. I think both of them have realized it. Now they get singled out one by one. Watch the battle with Joe Tucker and Mark Truxell once again. 8th and 9th here. Tucker in 8th, Truxell attacking. Drew Prowl back in the 10th spot. Jesse Redding, Matt Kopp, 11th and 12th. Interesting to point out here through those 2 quick successive cautions, number 88 of Eddie Rose has managed to get both laps back. He is still on the lead lap at this point in time as we approach halfway, but he seems off pace, and he's about 16 seconds behind the race leader. I don't know if he's making minimum speed at this point. 32.97 was his last lap. And I'm going to look at this here. It seems that Eddie is the only driver on the track that did not take tires during his pit stop. Now, I don't know if that's truly the case on the first stop because he did that under the green flag. He has made 2 pit stops, though, of course, the most recent coming at lap 42. Timmy Stubblefield's going to pull off the racetrack. He's going to hit pit lane. Timmy pulls into the pit box here. A little bit deep in the box, but not too far. And it looks like fuel only. And Timmy's out of it. He's left the race car, so maybe he's just calling it a night. Not sure the situation there with Stubblefield, the number 92. Just pulls it down off the racetrack at halfway and I guess throws in the towel. Tristan Sykes in the stream chat says, is Chris Elliott making minimum speed? Well, I'm going to assume so. His last lap, a 32.42 versus the leader's 32.09. I'd say he's pretty close. Elliott running back in 16th, up one spot from qualifying. Ahead of Vincent Short right now. Short, cause for our last caution on the restart. Spun the tires in front of half the field. Very quickly put us back under the yellow flag. Short now below the 29 of Chris Elliott. He's going to take that spot, so move Elliott back to 17th. Tristan Sykes says he usually isn't, just checking. Finally, we got somebody chatting in here. It's been awful quiet. Two laps past halfway here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Other battles up further towards the front of the field for the 10th spot. Mark Truxell has it for the time being. Jesse Redding applying some pressure. Drew Prowell has made some inroads coming up towards the front of the field after a disastrous opening lap. Went from third back to the, well, less than half the pack. About 16th, I think, is where he landed after lap one, after spinning the tires coming to the green flag. But he's battled back here, running in the 8th position. The number 80 Wolf machine. Chris Goins and Chris Mefford fighting for position. Chris Mefford into the top 5. Goins now back to 6th. Mefford making that pass on the high side, got it done. Meanwhile, back up front, some changes. Brian McCann's still out in front, but Will Hewitt has jumped up into the 2nd spot. Neil Quick into 3rd. Brandon Mefford has slipped back to the 4th position. We talked about this a little bit early on after the restart. Those two battling side by side for the better part of 3 or 4 laps. You gotta wonder how much tire wear was inflicted on that set for both of those drivers, McCann and Mefford. McCann, though, still maintaining his race lead about 2 seconds over Neil Quick as Neil takes over the 2nd spot from Will Hewitt. This has to make you wonder. Guys like Brian McCann, it seems like he can go out there and hammer the snot out of his car, beat up those tires, and still maintain a very fast pace. His last lap was a 32.83. Neil Quick was a 32.95. Will Hewitt was a 33.33. Brandon Mefford a 33.02. Chris Mefford a 33.10. Tight times. In fact, we'll switch it up, change up the timing tower here. It shows the most recently completed lap for everybody in the field. You can make the comparison specifically within the top 5, who's really got the pace right now. And it seems that the 83 of Mefford has picked it back up. Still watching the fight here. second, third, and fourth. Neil Quick, Will Hewitt, Brandon Mefford. Will Hewitt up the racetrack. It's going to open the door for Brandon Mefford, but Mefford can't keep it down in the low lane. Real loose out of turn 2. Has to save it. Straightens it back out. Gets ready to make an entry into 3. Does an okay job there, but loses a bit of track position. Now it's 5-6 car lengths between himself and Will Hewitt. She's got 70 laps up on the board. No better time than now. Take an HBR TV side-by-side break. Stay with us, folks. You won't miss a moment of the action. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, 44 laps remain before we can decide the victor here tonight, though Brian McCann has already locked up most laps led. McCann out in front here as we get 43 laps to go. Quick back in the second spot, 2.3 seconds in the rears. Will Hewitt third, Brandon Mefford fourth. Chris Goins back up into the fifth position, while Chris Mefford has slipped back to sixth. Just a couple of car lengths off the back bumper of the Popple Pro number 41. Eddie Rose still on the racetrack. Will Hewitt pulls off the racetrack. He hits pit road. So Will Hewitt into his pit box. He's going to take what appears to be his last set of tires. Should be enough to get him home as far as the tires are concerned, but I wonder if he's got enough to make it to the end on fuel. It seemed like some guys might have been close at the end of that first stage, which was a 40-lap run. We're down to about 41 laps to go. Don't forget that final lap is a lap that needs to be counted, so even though it's 80 to 120, it's really 40, but add that final lap. It's 41 laps to actually run. Brian McCann 2.4 seconds out in front over Neil Quick. Quick chasing the race car up the racetrack, a little loose on exit, as is just about everybody here tonight. Kopp getting by Eddie Rose. Vincent Short running back in the 12th position. Be next to roll up on the 88. We got one car maybe off the racetrack. Matt Kopp possibly. Yes, indeed. Slips it down into the grass. Might have caught the inside wall. Kopp just stops it and takes the tow truck to pit lane. Car didn't look too damaged. I think he'd have been okay. And I think he's just given up. Kopp out of this one. McCann extending his lead still. 2.68 seconds. Let's get a look what happened here just a lap ago with Matt Kopp. Back it up further. He might have been real loose. Yeah, you see him. He lays some rubber down. We'll go slow-mo here. So number 22, Kids Talk Machine, into the dog leg in the flat effectively here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Still trying to get that power down. You can see he's already in a slide. And that was actually Old Tire Tracks. Gathers it back up. Sends it through the grass. Now, he could have been real aggressive here and come straight up on the racetrack, but then you got to run the risk of someone driving into you. So Kopp stays down in the grass, drives it back to the grass. Maybe this was intentional as far as, you know what, I'm done. Tough to say. Either way, he makes impact with the inside wall there. Brian McCann now 3.12 seconds ahead of Neil Quick. Brandon Mefford ripping the top here, trying to find a way to reel in and pass the two of Neil Quick. Pushing hard here, trying to catch and then pass Neil Quick here. He's gotten it within a car length, maybe a car length and a half. This would be for the second spot. Again, the aero push that we talked about early on certainly affecting the 83, and you got to be careful because if all of a sudden you go from aero tight to all of a sudden having a bunch of air on the nose, well, chances are you've got a lot of wheel into it. Now you've got a bunch of extra front downforce. Now we can go from aero tight to aero loose very quickly. Mefford making a look. Mefford got alongside of Neil Quick. Not much he can do just yet. Might have a run unless Neil gets clear. No, has another run down the back straightaway. These two fighting it out is allowing Brian McCann to get even further out ahead. It's about a 4-second gap back to the second place machine of Neil Quick. A little wiggle out of Brandon Mefford as he tucks back in behind, but not giving up the attack. All of these drivers now within their fuel window. If they want to pit now and try to undercut, they can. As Mefford, man, I thought he was going to get a piece of the wall there. Meanwhile, Chris Goins, Joe Tucker, Jesse Redding, Mike Tucker, Chris Elliott, Mark Truxell, Ken Couch, all in pit lane. Last pit stops under the green flag here for a lot of these drivers. Lap 89. Again, we know they can go at least 40 laps on a tank of fuel. I don't know about 41 or 42. But in this case, we've got 31 laps to go as Mike Tucker slides to a stop in his stall. Chris Goins down and away, 14.72 seconds. A good stop for the 41. Meanwhile, Vincent Short back up into the top 5, ahead of Drew Prale now in 6th. Top 7 drivers need to make a pit stop here before this one's said and done. So does the 9th place machine of Will Hewitt. Now, if I'm the race leader, you're sitting here, you're kind of torn. When do I make my pit stop? I'm sure Brian McCann's already got a plan for this figured out in his head. But you're going to have some guys, and we've already seen some try it, work the undercut. And that means come down pit road a little bit sooner than you think the leaders are going to take advantage of fresh tires. They've done all that, so now they can run faster lap times than Brian McCann currently is. And McCann's last lap was the 33.43. Laps on fresh tires are about 2 seconds faster. So that's a lot of track position to be gained if you come down and take those tires earlier on. The risk that they've got, you pit now, you lose a lap, and then the caution comes out. Well, there's only one guy that'll be okay with that, and that's whoever's in the free pass position, and right now that's Chris Goins. And here comes Brian McCann, though. He's going to take his last set of tires and top it off with fuel. Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford is going to follow. So right side tires going on for McCann. Does he go 2 or does he take all 4? Doesn't really need the track position. He probably just needs the grip. And there you see it. The left sides go up in the air. So 4 tires in Sunoco Racing fuel for Brian McCann. Drops the jack. Not a fast stop, 15.3 seconds. Brandon Mefford is out of there a little slower, actually, 15.57. Brian McCann, after his pit stop, still comes out in the 5th position. Had enough drivers a lap down that he manages to finish that pit work under green without going down the lap. It's also going to put Chris Goins back on the lead lap. Neil Quick in 7th on the lead lap. Your first driver 1 lap down, the 83 of Brandon Mefford, who ironically did pit with Brian McCann at the same time. But as we say that, he gets his lap back. So does Matt Sisler. So does Joe Tucker and Mark Truxell. Again, pit cycle's underway, so we're going to see this switch up quite a bit here in that timing tower to the left. As Chris Mefford comes down pit road. Slides to a stop in the pit box, almost a tick too far, but that's all right. As long as you got all 4 tires in there, you're in good shape. Right sides go on. Crew drive walks around to the left side. 4 tires in Sunoco Racing fuel for Chris Meffert. His first race of the season here in the Noble Racing Series. Dumps the clutch and back out on the road he goes. 15.33 seconds for Chris Meffert. Meanwhile, Vincent Short, after taking over the race lead, he's going to come down to the attention of his crew. Will Hewitt now goes to the point. Vincent Short into his box. So 4 tires and fuel for Vince as well. Now the question is, when does Will Hewitt come down? Hewitt's last pit stop at lap 78. Hewitt's going to have to make one more stop, and I really think he's just kind of banking on a caution at this point. 24 laps to go. Meanwhile, through the pit cycle, Brian McCann back up into the 2nd spot. Interesting, there's about 14 laps difference between when Will Hewitt came down versus Brian McCann. We know McCann can go to the end from here based on the fuel that he needed to get to the end of this race. Will Hewitt, though, that might be a question mark. I don't know if he came down too soon. Unless he's just got it figured out. Perfect. I don't know. He might be okay. I know we talked about it when he hit pit road. It's going to be tight, but if he can save some fuel, he might be all right. He's certainly going to lose on pace. So McCann's only 6 3/4 seconds back and closing rapidly. 23 laps to go. Yeah, he's going to catch him for sure. Last time by for Will Hewitt was a 33.19. McCann was a 31.57. Chris Goins is cycled up in the 3rd spot. Neil Quick, a few car lengths off the back bumper as he works out of turn number 2. Michael Tucker rolling through. Tucker is 16th. Last car, well, I don't think he's even on the lead lap anymore. Yeah, Tucker, 39 machine, 1 lap down. Ken Couch, 13th. 1 lap down. The first car, 1 lap down, so he is in the free pass position if the caution were to come out. Watch Neil Quick drive to the inside here, taking a look on Chris Goins for the 3rd spot. Tell you, it seems like every week I'm interviewing Brian McCann and Neil Quick at a minimum. Again, those drivers coming out of the IROC Challenge Series, they've had all season long to run this race car in their home league, so they've got the experience, certainly showing that it's helpful. Meanwhile, Jesse Redding and Michael Tucker are going to hit pit road. Tucker in his pit box. Very slow stop for Michael Tucker, 16.78 seconds. Jesse Redding slowly coming to a stop in his pit stall. 20 laps to go. I think Jesse may have just been crossing his fingers hoping for a yellow here so he could take advantage of those tires without losing a lap. Jesse Redding back in 15th, drops the jack. He's down and away. Another fast stop, 14.77 for the 21. Back out front, Will Hewitt still with the race lead. Ken Couch to the inside. Couch not on the lead lap. He's going to try and get this one back the old-fashioned way, but dips the left sides below the white line through 3 and 4. Upsets the balance of the race car. He's going to have to try it again. Real loose in the dog leg. Good save by Ken Couch. You see Brian McCann, though, closing fast. Less than half a second away. 17 and a half laps to go. There you see it, the closing rate from the 3s. He almost gets the outside wall. 17 to go, McCann is there. McCann's gonna arc it on the high side. Again, patience Something McCann's very good with. Doesn't need to push the issue, just goes up top, drives right around. Brian McCann back to the point. Brian McCann back to the lead here out of turn number 2, down the backstretch into 3. He's just got to run some clean laps, cross his fingers, hope the caution doesn't come out so he doesn't have to deal with another restart. But if anybody can handle it, it's going to be the 3 of Brian McCann. Hewitt still in the second position. The question mark there is, does he have enough fuel? Might have come just a lap too soon. I don't know for sure. Again, I know there was guys saving fuel on the caution laps at the stage, so they were trying to make sure they had enough fuel to get back to the pits. And again, that was the completion of lap 40. As it stands now, oh, Will Hewitt loose on a 2. I think he's just trying to save it. I tell you, it almost looked like he was trying to wiggle the race car because maybe it was out of fuel, but that would still be too soon if that were the case, unless he just didn't get it full. You may see guys do that. They'll wiggle the race car to try and slosh the fuel around within the fuel cell, because the pickup is actually in the right rear corner of the fuel cell. They do that because predominantly you're taking left turns in this series, and the centrifugal force is going to push all that fuel to the right rear of the race car. Still big time wiggles. And I can't imagine he's doing it on purpose at this point. He shouldn't be that tight on fuel yet. Hewitt maintaining the second spot for now. You can see in the distance, Neil Quick starting to reel him in with 12.5 laps to go. I don't know if Hewitt's going to have enough pace to outrun Quick, especially if he's trying to save fuel. Been clean and green here since about lap 46. That was our last caution when Vincent Short had trouble during the restart, spinning the tires in front of the field. Further back in the pack here for the 10th spot, Vincent Short with it for now. Drops it to the bottom here, trying to take the 9th position from Mark Truxell. Truxell still working the high lane. Mark will have a big run here out of turn 4. Great way to stay out in front and defend the position. Vince just had a better exit. It's alongside down into turn number 1, and the 15's got Mark clear. So move Vince Short up into the 9th spot. Drew Prale might be taking it away from Mark as well. Move the 80 to the top 10, maybe not. Slots in behind the 5, down the backstretch. Little piece of the wall for Prale. That's not a good way to do it. He's real loose into turn 3. Man, I don't know if Prale even lifted, because he didn't lose any ground. Had that thing 40 degrees sideways into turn number 3. Never got off the throttle and still maintains about a car length, maybe 2, off the back bumper of Mark Truxell. Seen a lot of these guys wiggle the ass end of the race car here through the dog leg too. That flat part of the racetrack, especially as these tires are wearing out, becomes very treacherous. We're seeing it also on the exit of turn 2. I don't think there's any place on this racetrack that's safe right now, as Mark Truxell gets a piece of the wall on the entry to 3 as well. Got to take as wide of an entry as you can possibly make here to straighten those corners out as best as possible. Problem is, if you go too far, well, there's a wall there. 9 laps to go from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Brian McCann out with a 5.5 second advantage as Neil Quick just now makes the pass on Will Hewitt. So move Quick up into the 2nd spot. And Hewitt's going to worry about the 83 of Brandon Mefford because he's right there as well. He's going to close in. He's going to challenge for that third spot. Again, Hewitt's pit stop came at lap 78. Brandon Mefford was lap 92. And here he goes. Brandon Mefford looking to the outside. Hewitt shuts the door. Crossing over is Mefford. Back to the stripe for the double dog leg. Mefford completes the pass, slides up the racetrack. A little crossover from Will Hewitt, but I don't know if he's going to have enough to drive it out of turn 2. And now Brandon Mefford up into the third spot. Hewitt back to fourth where he started. Chris Goins running in fifth, also where he started today. Chris Elliott running back in 13th. Chris, the last car on the lead lap for now, at least for now. Brian McCann closing in. You see him there in the distance, about 10, 12 car lengths back. 5 laps to go. Doug Wysocki running in the 12th spot. Still a strong afternoon for Doug. Started 20th. Mark Truxell now has just slipped outside the top 10. Also still a very strong day for the 5 as he's up for the 21st spot in 11th. Drew Prowl having a good recovery after his first lap issues. Vincent Short, speaking of recovery, also having a good run here after that incident that brought us under caution. Chris Mefford back in 8th, started 9th. Quiet participant here tonight, not making a whole lot of noise, but still having a strong run. Joe Tucker, remember, started in 13th. He's running in the 7th position. Having a great race this afternoon. And then Matt Sisler in the 6th position, started 11th. I'm sure Matt would love to get up there and battle with Chris Goins to put that Celsius Kia within the top 5, but looks like he might have to settle for P6 here tonight. Chris Mefford, though, right to the back bumper of Joe Tucker, now drives it alongside through turns 1 and 2. Might be clear on exit. Yes, he is. Move Chris Mefford into the 7th spot with ease. Down the backstretch, Tucker doesn't have any answer for that. Will he drive it in deep? He does not. Meanwhile, Brian McCann, 6 seconds the advantage as he works down the back straightaway. A lap and a half to go for the 3, and it'll be another race win for Brian McCann. Coming to the line, white flag in the air. Final lap for Brian McCann. One more time through turns 3 and 4, and Brian McCann will head to victory lane. Brian McCann started from pole position, enters the dogleg for the final time. Checkered flag. Brian McCann wins it here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Neil Quick's going to come home in the 2nd spot. Brandon Mefford 3rd, so it's an IROC sweep once again. Brian McCann already spinning it sideways into the infield grass. I don't think that's what he intended, but it's what he got. Brian McCann makes it 2 in a row. Brian McCann tearing up the Legends Oval here, Atlanta Motor Speedway. And he blows it up right in the pit lane. Well, that's it for the celebration for the 3. Let's step aside, get our final break out of the way. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us, folks.
I met Marco Sgarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Brian McCann making it 2 wins in a row here in the No Bull Racing Series. Let's pull the driver of the number 3 Chevrolet into the broadcast booth and get a word with our race winner. Brian McCann, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got a copy?
Hey, I do. How's it going?
Brian, congratulations, man. An awesome victory here. Put it on pole, led the most laps, and take the checkered flag for 2 races in a row, man. Tell us about your night. and how you manage the strategy with those tires tonight to stay so fast through every portion of the run here tonight.
Yeah, those tires, that was the name of the game there. You had to baby those tires. You didn't want to turn that steering wheel any more than you had to. So it was all about right foot. It was real hard to drive later in the run when they started getting worn out. Brandon gave me some good racing there at the right after the stage, trying to get in front of me. He wanted me to see what that dirty air felt like, and I didn't really want to test it.
Well, I was going to ask you about that too, because you guys did battle it out there for a few laps after the second restart, after the Vincent Short issue. It seemed that Brandon kind of burned up his tires in that fight, but it didn't affect you quite as badly, as you were still able to pull away, and then Mefford was slipping back after the fact. What was the changes that you had to make there to maintain the pace that you had, even though you were battling with Brandon?
So right before that, I knew that he was probably going to battle, because being the leader, that fresh air is just so important. So I already had made up in my mind to run him hard and just try to stay with him. But I think it was on lap 1 or 2 I started noticing, I was burning way too much. So I dropped off, let him have the lead, and then cut back under him. And luckily, after that, he started slowing down. But you could tell we was just killing the tires there. So it was pretty tough to do and maintain that long run speed.
Well, with that, we switch things up next week. We head to the Paperclip at Martinsville Speedway on the 5th of November. How do you feel about your shot there on the short track, the not tricky triangle, the Paperclip at Martinsville Speedway next week?
It's going to be interesting. I don't think I've had this car on that track yet, so there's a lot of horsepower, not a lot of traction, so it might be pretty fun.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to watch for sure. Certainly want to stiffen up those throttle pedals if at all possible, because you're going to want to be careful putting the power down out of the corners of that place.
No doubt.
Well, Brian, again, congratulations on the race win here. 2 in a row. Good luck for 3 in a row next week. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, my family, you for doing the broadcast, league admins for putting this show on, sponsors, drivers showing up every week. Love it. Great racing. Thanks.
Brian McCann, your race winner here from Atlanta Motor Speedway, the old Atlanta Motor Speedway. And I'll tell you, I never thought a guy would get tired of winning races, but it almost sounds like Brian is getting bored. Get some guys out here in the stream that might be faster. Come in here and give this guy a challenge. He needs it. With that said, let's go to second place finisher Neil Quick. Certainly getting closer. We keep talking to him every single week. Neil, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got me?
Gotcha, Steve.
Neil, congratulations, man. Another runner-up finish. It seems like every time we talk, you're still within the top 3, but still not grabbing that checkered flag. What is it going to take to get you into victory lane here in the upcoming races here in No Bull?
I just need the same grip package that 3's got. I mean, shit, Steve, he went battling with Brandon tonight, and I was just sitting back there eating popcorn, waiting for something to happen, or for them guys to use their stuff up. And sure enough, the 83 come back to me, but the 3 just continued to motor on through. I don't know. Brian's just an excellent driver. Got a lot of time on the sim, and each night you race against him, you race against probably one of the best out there. So congratulations to him on the win tonight, and just need to spend more time here and try to figure out what he's got, because we don't have it.
Well, it seems to be that I know you guys run this car over in the IROC Challenge Series, and it definitely has seemed to help all of you guys in this particular league, as you're more than half, maybe 3/4 of the way through your season. How much has the experience in that league contributed to your success over here at No Bull?
It definitely has. I mean, these cars are just a different animal. You got to drive it basically sideways off the right rear tire, and ironically tonight, I mean, for me, I was using up way more tire than I thought, especially in the right front. So kind of shocked me a little bit compared to the last couple of weeks. So not sure what I was doing different tonight, but didn't get a whole lot of practice for this besides jumping into the room tonight to race, and just kind of sat back and watched Will that had a good run. The 33 had a good drive tonight, and the 83 was really good. Chris Gomes was up there, so a lot of good drivers tonight. Just try to find a good pace and try to be there at the end this week. You didn't want to be on the infield spinning through the grass, but I didn't see the number 1 tonight, so I knew that was going to be easier.
Well, with all that said, next week we switch up a bit here, kind of a different discipline as we go into the Paperclip at Martinsville Speedway next week. Short track racing with these cars. I haven't done it yet. I don't know if you've got any experience with it, at least at Martinsville. What are your thoughts rolling in to Martinsville, Virginia next week?
It's a clean slate. I haven't practiced these cars at Martinsville, haven't ran them in the other league either, so better find some time to get some practice laps in to be good, because that's going to be a tough place with these cars.
Well, we're looking forward to it either way. Neil, congratulations on another solid runner-up finish here at Atlanta. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
All the sponsors for the league, Eric Dodson, TBM, I believe it's Stevers there that sponsors the league. You guys doing the broadcast, and then all the guys that come out to race every week. It's a blast being here on Sunday nights and racing.
All right, Neil, again, congratulations on a second-place finish. And I want to thank you again for helping us out with the plaques for the Noble Can-Am Series. Looks like all the drivers got their hardware for their season's effort. I really do appreciate the work on that. They came out great.
Very cool. Thanks, Steve-O. Talk to you later in the week.
All right, Neil Quick, your runner-up here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Next, we're going to go to Brandon Mefford, our third-place finisher, another IROC driver. See his take here. We get him up into the HBR TV booth. Brandon, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Steve.
Brandon, congratulations. A solid third-place finish here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Walk us through the strategy tonight. Again, you started outside front row, not able to finish second or better, but third place not too shabby considering the company you're with up there in the top 5.
Oh, absolutely. My strategy tonight was pretty simple. Keep it clean, don't wreck it. This track was really slick, and you really had to throttle the car to keep it straight. And as you noticed, I didn't do a great job of that. So let Brian get away from me there. Obviously the man to beat, but thought we could have hung with him there. At least kept him in the front visor. But man, he's just so good on and off pit road and saving his tires and being smooth that he's going to be hard to beat the rest of the season.
Well, looking at the best lap categories here, I have to go back and verify it, but I think you may have had the fastest lap of the race by about a tenth, maybe a tenth and a half over Brian McCann, and it very well could have been while you guys were fighting it out. I don't know, but I wanted to talk about that battle. I mentioned it with Brian. You guys side by side there for a handful of laps after the stage. It seemed to affect your car more negatively after the fact than it did his, as you lost a couple of positions while Brian was still able to drive away. What, in your mind, was the difference between that battle and what maybe hurt your tires more than his in that instance?
Now, the main thing was I drove it in there so deep trying to slide job him. I wanted to lead a lap, and I wanted to be out in front because that clean air, I think, was going to be key. So when I drove it in there, Brian was able to turn back down, and to be honest with you, he got to the inside and I couldn't see him. So I was trying to be really careful up off the corner, and he got back by me, and then I just kept getting into the wall, and that's really why I lost all that position, that track position. I just about wrecked it, so had to play catch up. But luckily I was able to get back up there and fight Neil for second. But yeah, like I said, Brian's just so smooth, and I didn't want to wreck him there when I got back on the underside of him. But tried to get that clean air. I knew it was going to be key, and it was.
Place like this, especially in these cars, clean air is certainly king, but we switch things up a little bit next week when we go to Martinsville. If memory serves correct here, the Meffords kind of like those short track races. How do you feel about your chances next week out at the Paperclip?
I think this car's going to be totally different. I think my brother's going to be really good. Neil's going to be good. Brian's going to be good. A lot of these Noble guys are good short track racers, so I think it's anybody's game next week. I wouldn't doubt it if we don't see the bumper being used a little. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say new winner next week.
New winner is the prediction next week in Martinsville, so that's very interesting. Well, we'll see if it comes to fruition, as some people will understand my joke with that. But nonetheless, Brandon, congratulations. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody over here at Noble. As you could tell, you get a call, but these races have been incredible. Bunch of clean guys, fast guys. Very little cautions or beating and banging. So shout out to all the guys over at Noble, all the sponsors that put on this deal. You guys for the broadcast. You do a great job, Steve. I'm proud to race with you calling the races. And I got to thank everybody over at Charity Motorsports. Shout out to my IROC crew. IROC was 1, 2, 3 tonight. So pretty proud of those guys. And then my Charity Motorsports teammates, and then my family for, letting me get on here and do my thing 3 or 4 nights a week. And I think that's about it, bub.
Job well done, Brandon. Congratulations. Good luck next week.
Thanks, Steve. We'll see you then.
Brandon Mefford, your third place finisher here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's jump out and take a look at our race results. Of course, Brian McCann, Neil Quick, Brandon Mefford, your top 3. Will Hewitt finishes in the 4th position. 5th place finisher belongs to Chris Gones. 6th went to Matt Sisler. Chris Mefford was 7th. Again, another IROC driver. So 3 in the top 3, 4 in the top 10. So those IROC guys certainly do have a leg up. A lot of work to do for the No Bowl Series drivers that don't get that opportunity each Monday. 8th place finisher was Joe Tucker. Vincent Short, 9th, a good recovery after the caution he was involved with. 10th, Drew Prowl, another great recovery after that first lap. Oops. Mark Truxell, a good run, finishing in the 11th spot. Hard charger tonight would be the 5 as he passed 10 positions, race cars, drivers, however you want to put it. He moved up 10 spots on the racetrack here to 11th. 12th place finisher was Doug Wysocki. Chris Elliott, 13th. Ken Couch, 14th. Jesse Redding was 15th. Mike Tucker, 16th. Eddie Rose, 17th. Matt Kopp finishes in the 18th position. 19th finisher was Alan DeFries. 20th was Timmy Stubblefield. Shane Haas finishes 21st. And Keaton Burnett credited with 22nd. 120 laps down. Unfortunately for Keaton, did not take the green flag. I don't know if there was a connection issue there, but to expand a little bit further on Drew Prale's first lap issues, he did mention in the chat after the fact that he started the race without any force feedback in his steering wheel. So complete free play, didn't get to feel anything in the wheel, so may not have been able to catch that slide right off the bat because he couldn't feel it. And by the time you realize it visually, well, sometimes it's too late. So that very well could have been the case for the 80. Nonetheless, a good recovery for Drew. He comes back and has a solid finish here within the top 10. So that's going to wrap it up for us here, though, at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Congratulations to Brian McCann. Really, all the IROC guys finishing 1, 2, 3 here at Atlanta once again. Don't forget to tune in here next Sunday, November the 5th. Ironically, I think it's my birthday. Well, in fact, I know it's my birthday. But we're going to be at Martinsville Speedway. Tune in for that. No candles, no cake, no nothing. We're just going to have a race about it. We'll see who parks it in victory lane, and we'll see if Brandon Mefford's prediction of a new winner comes true. The only way you guys are going to know is, well, show up to watch it. We'll see what happens. So that's going to wrap it up for us here with HBR TV. Again, I'm Steve Singer, congratulating Brian McCann on the race win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Make sure you guys tune in next week for Martinsville Speedway. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.